Rights to freedom is dead. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit that like button because all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. And we're on our way to 10K because of you guys. I appreciate you so much, everything that you all do. Now, we got a hate crime story of a 14-year-old who committed a hate crime attempting to take the life of a 15-year-old with a partner he had, but the story doesn't really focus too much on that. But the thing is that we have this hate crime that the media is not really putting enough attention on, so we're gonna have to talk about it. Copyright disclaimer: under section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Well, taking you to the Cape now, the Chatham teenager facing attempted murder charges in what's being described as a racially motivated attack was in court today.
Now, the first thing I want to say is the audio and lips, they're a little bit off. That's not my doing. That's their doing. I guess the audio man and the cameraman, I guess their thing was not in sync, but that's not my fault.
Our NBC 10's Eli Rosenberg joining us live in Barnstable with those details. Eli.
Well, Priscilla, for the first time, we are seeing and briefly hearing from this 14-year-old. He was in court this afternoon here in Barnstable. He is charged with attempted murder, a couple other charges as well. Prosecutors saying it was a racially motivated attack back in mid-July. Jack Sheeran's lawyer, though, just calling it horseplay that got out of control.
Quote unquote horseplay that got out of control? No, not at all. You know that's a pathetic excuse, but the thing is that their defense doesn't have much of an excuse they can really make. But I want you guys to notice how years ago they used to use he has a mental health problem. He just had a mental health episode, mental health this, mental health that. Every single time you saw a racial attack against a black person, okay, because the whole mental health excuse, they never ever use that for or on behalf of a black person doing anything, even if the black person had mental issues. But when they're white, it's all, oh, you know, they have mental problems. He had a mental breakdown or whatever the case. Notice how, as we've been calling that out, and we in the community, in the grassroots, we've been pushing against the pathetic mental health excuse against racial hate crimes. Notice that they've been kind of dialing back the mental health excuse. Just notice that.
Any message for the family? That guy you said was your friend? The 14-year-old who prosecutors say attacked a friend in a racially motivated incident didn't have much to say as he left court. Any message to the community who's heard this story over the past couple of weeks?
First off, look at this kid. I know those people age fast as hell, but I mean, look at him. There's no way, if y'all didn't say he was 14 years old, that I would look at this man standing shoulder to shoulder with another grown man, a little bit taller, and was like, oh yeah, he looks like a 14-year-old. This man looks like a grown man. This man does not look he's not like old, but he don't look 14. You don't really see 14-year-olds like that.
I don't want to speak right now.
Did you mean what you said? According to court paperwork, the 15-year-old victim, who is black, told police he was invited to swim at this pond in Chatham on July 19th.
Man, come on now. This is a mistake that we need to stop making. This is why it's important for the community, especially the parents, to teach the children, because they get around these white people and think everything's all hunky-dory and that these white folks are their friends. They get invited someplace and they're never seen alive again. You know how easily a quote-unquote accident could have happened at a lake? How many accidents, quote-unquote, happen where black people are only around white folks and they, quote-unquote, are all friends, and the black person, the only one, wind up dead? And nobody knows what happened. Nobody goes to jail. This has happened time and time again. It's time for us to stop making this mistake.
But things quickly turned, he told police, saying Jack Sheeran and another teen.
Hey, hold on. No, we're not about to skip past the fact that you said another teen. Because in the papers and all the headlines and everything like that, you're making it seem like this is a lone incident. Where's this other teen? See, this is what they do all the time. They'll have these incidents and then one person will go down as the fall guy, but it was a group effort. So most of the people don't go down. They'll have like, okay, well, if one of us has to go down, then that's just a sacrifice we have to make. But the group doesn't go down. Where is this other teen? Where is his charges? Where is his hate crime? What's going on with that?
Started throwing rocks at him, calling him a racial slur, and threatened to beat him up. Sheeran, according to the police report, later repeatedly dunked the victim in the pond and swam underneath him to try and pull him underwater, the victim adding he couldn't breathe. And another teen, quote, started laughing and called me George Floyd.
Now, despite how absolutely horrific this is, I'm just grateful for the fact that this black kid did not actually lose his life or was not seriously injured, because, you know, almost drowning, even if you don't die, even if you survive, you can still have brain damage and other things like that by drowning, okay, or even almost drowning. That can still affect you, you know. So I'm glad that he's safe, but this is a tragic story, okay, and this is something that we have to pay attention to, because that's 14-year-old kid. This 14-year-old didn't get this by himself. Who is this 14-year-old around that gives him ideas like this?
Is your client remorseful?
Of course. Absolutely.
Prosecutors calling all of this a pattern, though, saying Sheeran also is accused of using racial slurs against an Asian teen that same July day. Sheeran's lawyer saying his client is the victim there.
The Asian kid called him fat and he punched him.
Well, that's because that's true. He's fat and he looks old, okay? He looks a lot older than a 14-year-old. Can you imagine what he's going to look like when he's 30 or 35? He's going to look like you. He's going to look like you, sir. That's who he's going to look like when he's that age. But the thing is, allegedly, if he did call him fat, this man, this boy, I'm sorry, I'm saying man, this boy did not just punch him, okay? He invited him to a place and planned on his murder. That is first-degree homicide on top of a hate crime. All right, throwing rocks at somebody, calling them racial slurs, trying to pull them down so they can drown along with somebody else. So he planned on having an accomplice with him. All right, that doesn't warrant your response to quote unquote being called fat, does not warrant that in any way.
Sheeran's name is being released even though he is a juvenile because he's being charged as a youthful offender, which means even though he is a juvenile, his court proceedings are public and he could potentially be facing an adult sentence.
And he most definitely should, okay? Because if he was black and he did this to anybody else, if he did this to Asians, okay, you can't even say anything against them. If he did this to the small hat community, if he was black, it would be a hate crime. He would be charged as an adult, okay? It would be a RICO charge because he did it with another person. It would be a gang injunction, you know what I'm saying? So let's not be lenient on him at all.
In court on Monday, the judge agreeing Sheeran can be released pending trial with several conditions.
Let me ask y'all a question. Do you think if he was black that the judge would be releasing him before his trial? The person who was charged with an attempted murder, a racially charged attempted murder of a minor, do you think the judge would be releasing him on any conditions at all? I'm just asking.
And that didn't sit well with many who packed the courtroom, saying they're troubled by the racial allegations.
Somebody's life was jeopardized here, and it shouldn't be, shouldn't get off so easily.
I fully agree. And on top of that, what type of precedent are you setting when you give him a slap on the wrist, when you let him go, okay? When you don't throw the book at him like you would if he was black? What type of precedent do you think you're setting, okay? Because when they see leniency, that encourages somebody else to do that type of action. That's what happens.
And you saw right there, Sheeran did leave court this afternoon after the proceedings. The judge set a number of conditions, including he can't leave home. He does have to wear a GPS. And the family of the 15-year-old victim declined comment as they left court this afternoon. Ivan Barnstable, Eli Rosenberg, NBC 10 Boston.
So he can just sit home and, play Xbox and eat pizza and drink Mountain Dew, and he's, you know, just gonna chill until his court date. And then judge, because of that, that lets me know that the judge is probably going to give him a slap on the wrist. That's probably what's going to happen. If the judge is already kind of cutting him some slack and giving him a break now, the judge is probably more than likely going to kind of give him a slap on the wrist. Oh, you get probation. Oh, you got to go to a mental health thing or whatever the case is. That's probably what the judge is going to do if the jury even convicts. All right. So we have to look at that and kind of judge based off of what the judge has done already, make a prediction about what's going to happen. But the thing is that what we need to pay attention to is the fact that these suspected supremacists, these people are getting younger and younger and younger. Okay, the anti-black racism in American society is not dying out. It's not going away. It's not fading away with the older generation. That's what they've been saying. Oh, well, the older people, they're going to die out. It's going to be fine, because the younger people, they're not on that page. It's old, the hillbillies and the old people, you know, but you don't have to worry about that much younger. You see with Dylan Roof, he was young. You see with Peyton Gendron, he was young. You see with Ryan Palmetto, he was young. And this is all in modern times, okay? Then you see him, he's 14 years old. And we can bring up story after story after story of white males, young white males committing racial hate crimes against black people. We can bring up so many different stories of that. So we don't want to hear the excuse of racism is dying out, it's fading away. Oh, well, Trump brought it back, but now Trump is gone, so it's kind of going. It's not gone anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to fade, at least. It's something that we have to actively dismantle. And another thing, too, is they only slightly brought up the fact that there was somebody else involved. Notice how the story does not really touch on that. They touched on the other kid. Where was this other kid? Where was this other kid? Do we know the age even of this other? Because they just said teenager. Is this person 18, 19? How old is this other person? Where is this other person involved? Have they done this before? There's a lot of other questions that we should be asking because of the fact that they mentioned that there was another kid involved, okay? We have to ask all these questions. So what's really going on with this? Where did these kids get stuff like this from? Because this is attempted murder is not normal behavior of a 14-year-old, even if the 14-year-old was bullied, which is unlikely because of the fact that they had to be friends for you to invite the person out swimming with you anyway. So it's unlikely that these were rivals at school or they bullied each other or anything like that. You're not going to invite your, hey, you want to go swimming? Yeah, sure. I've been bullying you all your life, but you know what I'm saying? I'd love to go swimming. That's not likely to what has happened. Okay. More than likely they were friends. They chose him as a black friend. The black kid was naive, which is something that we need to, as adults, especially the people who have children and in the community, to educate them on this, because too often they wind up in dangerous situations. And had this black kid lost his life, he would not be able to tell the story about what happened to him. So those two little white kids would have got away. Oh, it was an accident. You know, he couldn't swim. Something happened. I don't know what happened. As long as they don't like make the evidence too open and too clear, they probably more than likely would have got away with it if the black kid had drowned. Thank God that he didn't, but this is something that we need to teach the kids to stay away from. Why are you, as the only black person, going out anywhere, really, especially out swimming? Like you clearly don't know your history enough to even feel in your spirit that is a good decision. Now, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you think about the hate crime that this 14-year-old committed? What do you think about the judge's decision to essentially put him on house arrest? What do you think the family should do about it? What do you think about the other party that was involved that nobody's talking about? Let me know that in the comment section below. Also, you should be following me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and the Afro Elite on Twitter. Before you guys go, please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification button, because we are on our way to 10K, and that's because of you guys and all of your support for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, everything that you guys do, sharing everything that you guys do. I sincerely appreciate it. We're on our way to 10K. Thank you very much. Now, with that being said, my brothers and sisters, B1 salute to every single last one of you all. And of course, you all have a good one.